All right, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. I thought it was a good day of work for our first bye-week practice. Really a big week of challenge. Coming off the game. I thought there's obviously a lot of elements that we did well. In some areas we showed improvement, growth. I felt the style of play that we wanted to see, but there was still some details and ultimately it was some execution and just needing to have continued growth, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and embracing that challenge. Like where we're sitting, after 2 games, but embracing the challenge for to take big steps here this week is critically important. And so I think the guys have had a good mindset. I thought there's some good work today, with older guys that that have had more game reps, and then even with some of the guys, we did a little bit of extra with guys that are still kind of figuring it out and just continuing to grow with their developmental process. So I thought it was a good first day of the bye week, and obviously tomorrow's got to be a great day, with the work that's in front of us. But it's good.
First question will be Brendan.
When we spoke to you in the preseason, you said that Tommy was playing his best football. I imagine you like what you've seen through 2 games. What are the areas that you've seen that have really ascended and grown for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's playing within himself. That's something I've been really pleased with. I thought he located the ball outstanding, in the game the other day, very efficient as a passer, but we pushed the ball down the field. And that's where, you saw his confidence in that. I thought he threw the ball, on time, and, even in the one moment where he, kind of allowed, on the second touchdown to Deuce, where he kind of allowed, Deuce to get even. He held, but he put through just like an outstanding location on that second pass, with for that touchdown. And so, I feel like he's the details in his game and not trying to go out and do too much. And that's going to be a big, a big part of, his continued growth as he's going through it. Just, play within yourself, give yourself one more play if things aren't right. And, obviously his playmaking ability is going to be able to take over, throughout. But, you take the good, you take the bad, and you continue to move forward with the next play.
Did you know that his vertical, I guess, the accuracy on some of the deep stuff was part of his game, or could be to this
Yeah,
extent?
no, we absolutely believe that would be something that would continue to grow and that could be showcased in this offense. And we said it throughout. I mean, we're gonna be physical in what we do, and we want to establish a run, but we're gonna throw the ball vertically down the field, and that's something that I think our guys have embraced. The first game, I thought we had a missed opportunity, in that, but I mean, you felt the growth in that part of it offensively, and obviously showed up with a lot of explosive plays.
All right.
One of the things that you guys talked about in preseason camp was trying to capitalize on opportunities on defense, force interceptions, things like that. You did get a couple interceptions, but we talked to Tony. He was like, could have been pick sixes. What do you think needs to be? How do you go from here to there?
No, I mean, it's the continued training, the continued emphasis. Every drill that we do defensively, we incorporate a ball. I mean, and that's something that if you got to have awareness, you got to be comfortable around the ball, and just understand that you're a defensive player. The offense doesn't want to give it to you. Like, that's not, so you got to go take it. You got to put yourself in a position to physically secure it, and whether that's in the air, whether that's with a ball carrier running, that's one thing I do want to see an improvement on is I want to force more fumbles, and I think our guys are playing violent, but we got to continue with the violence and be able to get the ball on the ground with opportunities to add to that. To those takeaways, but I'm seeing growth in it, and sometimes it's, you can train it, you can strain it, you can emphasize it, but as long as you're willing to continue to work towards it, it will show up, and I do believe that, and we saw that in going from week 1 to week 2. Week 1 we had some missed opportunities, and week 2 we were able to capitalize on a few, and there's still more that are out there that we know is going to be a big part of who we are. And then on the flip side of it, I think we've done a good job, with our, especially that that first group offensively, first couple groups offensively, of owning the ball, but there's still been opportunities. There are times that where we're a little bit too loose with the ball, and it hasn't hurt us yet, but it doesn't matter until it matters. And that's where we got to have a continued focus of making sure that we're getting the ball secure, that we're doing the things to retain and keep possession. So those are all things that we're focused on here this week and each day as we move forward.
Liam.
Back with Tommy, the confidence that he's playing with and the confidence that he brings to just preparation and everything, how have you seen that impact some of the other guys, and maybe even in the quarterback room?
Yeah, I mean, Tommy doesn't have to stand in front of people and say he's confident. It's not because once again, anybody can do that. And the impact is when you see somebody come out to work. Like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What is he doing whenever it's not, it's not even structured? Like, what is he doing on his own? And I think that's where he's earned a lot of respect and probably encouraged, inspired, others to continue to ascend to their best level. And and there's still nobody's perfect. I mean, he has his moments, just like anybody does. But it's like when you collectively as a group, if you see somebody dip a little less than what they've been, well, now you can help hold and challenge each other. And so, but I think that's what Tommy's done a great job within his leadership and in being able to show that this confidence has been earned. And so, that's where as a football team we're all continuing to push towards.
Chris.
Who were some of the lesser used, less experienced players that you thought really capitalized on the reps that they got on Saturday?
There was some good work that showed up. I mean, I was proud of Tylen Coleman. He missed a sack, but I was proud of him for. I think he's really grown. Coming in the spring, it's been a process for him, but I've really been pleased, seeing just the work ethic that he's put in, and you continue to push. I thought that both our tackles did a pretty solid job offensively with JD and Lucas. I mean, that was. I actually talked to Lucas this morning. I mean, I needed to see that in a game situation, and you saw that. Some of the areas of focus we wanted to see improvement on, he was able to show, and that was good. I really was proud of the Sam Singleton run was a big time run, and I mean I don't care what you're going against. I mean he made a great cut, great speed, really good vision in that, and I mean there are a lot of guys that came in and were able to get quality work and you try to capitalize on those opportunities, but we've been able to play a good number of guys. But I think we played 90 guys and 17 true freshmen, so they all got to really show a little bit of exactly where they are and where we can go here moving forward.
Brendan.
For some of the guys who left Saturday's game with injuries, Squirrel, Stephon, James, Keziah, how are they doing there?
Yeah, I mean I think there'll be. I feel good about where we are. I mean, right now I don't know if anybody's just absolutely out for the next game. So we'll see. There could be. I'll know more probably getting into next week. But nothing coming out of that game was long term that we're worried about.
Peter.
Coach, with what you see with the wide receivers, obviously you're going to rely with Deuce and with Squirrel. Is there like other receivers are looking to just continue to just find a way to gain itself in the rotation and also trying to just get in the mix of, especially in the passing game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw. I know Chase was able to get in. Boggs obviously had his first touchdown. Those guys. Elijah Moore. Had a nice catch. There on Saturday. As the work went. I'm really excited. And Luane got his first most extended work today, and so hopefully coming back tomorrow, continue to ramp that up and have him available because Luane's a guy that's he's a tier 1 type of guy for us, and I think he's got great ability. He can really play all the positions, and so seeing bringing that back into the room, I think will be big and just the continued competition. But yeah, I mean I thought. It's good seeing guys emerge. Danzy, seeing him get more, more holistic reps, I guess, and getting the ball out on the perimeter, in the passing game, as well as doing a really good job fighting and blocking. So I mean, it was good to see.
Corey.
you've been working with Gus now for 9 months, but the season's been 2 weeks. What are the game plan strategies like with him? How much fun is it to watch him in his element do what
Yeah.
he's so good at?
No, I mean, I love it. And I mean, you know, I got to see it, 20 years ago, you know, kind of firsthand. And so seeing him back in that, with that structure, and it's, you know, it's nice because the man works, I mean, he's a machine, you know, he really is. And it's just the way that he can go about, you know, his vision of what he wants it to look like, the you know, tying it to what our players can do, and then understanding what it needs to look like. I mean, it really has done an outstanding job, and he's having fun. I mean, that's what I told him when we started this, and I knew it'd be a lot of change. I mean, you go from being a head coach for however many years, you know, he was a head coach, to now, you know, being a coordinator, and, you know, coming in, and there were some dynamics of things that, you know, just, you get to work through of you kind of how we do it, and then also things of how he does and Tony does, and just working all that together. But man, it is, as we've gotten into the season, I mean, it's a joy for me, and I say that like it really is. I love getting to work with who I work with. I mean, you know, obviously Gus, Tony, those guys as coordinators, JP. I mean, it's you know, there's a lot that's on their plate, but you know, to see them, you know, pour what they have into our players, and to see the players' confidence rise, and to be able to go out there and execute, and you know, it's whether it's the challenges that they present, but also the affirmation and encouragement that they give, and then, you know, how that ties down with all the assistant coaches. And you know, I think our coaching staff's done a really nice job, but you know, it's fun to see those guys, you know, working in their element.
We have time for a couple more, but Ira.
A couple more right here.
2-4.
So, I was gonna ask you about Tylen Coleman, because there just aren't a lot of human beings that look like that. Can he help in real games, like the bigger, more competitive games? And also, just how good of a job has T Knight done with that group? It seems like, you know, the young guys have developed, and just that D line seems.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about our defensive line, and you know, it's a constant push, and it's a lot of competition, and so you know, I think T Knight is really you know, continued to push to uphold, you know, the standard of what it is to play D line here at Florida State, and you know, and he definitely, you know, he makes it his, and I say that like it's, you know, the ownership of what it looks like, what it needs to be. You know, he's done a great job with a young freshman. You know, and then it's also the challenge for, you know, the vets and guys that have played a good amount of football, just to be able to fit within what we do and how we want to do it. And so, you know, I think that, you know, T Knight's been great, and I think, you know, Tylen is. I want to see that continued progression, and you know, I think that, you know, what he did in fall camp, you know, definitely got my attention. You know, seeing him continue to grow, you know, throughout the work weeks. I mean, we'll. You know, we want that push, and so I mean, I do believe he's got a future here. You know, it's coming out of JC, and you know, obviously it's a little bit different coming into a new program. You know, there is some flexibility with him, just but you know, we'll see where that continues to progress. And you know, the thing I respect out of that young man is, I mean, he is an absolute worker, and whether it's you know, individual going to, you know, the group work, you know, he's somebody that you can feel that has a very strong desire to go get better, and that's why he had a little bit of success there the other night.
All right, last one, Brendan.
Cool moment from Saturday was Ashton Bracewell's tackle, what he went through to get to that point, but then also, I guess I could ask you about the response from teammates, walk-ons, veterans, all sorts of guys.
Yeah, and I thought that was, I mean, there was a couple moments of you felt the celebration of the team, and you know, one of those celebrations cost us a penalty, and we got to just have some fun accountability for it. But you know, if there's ever a time as a coach that, you know, in that situation, yeah, we got to be in control of ourselves, celebrating a touchdown whenever, you know, Zay Park scored. But it was like defensive players and offensive players, and you know, you just felt a group that was celebrating that. I know, when you know, Bracewell's, you know, tackle, I mean, that kid, I mean, he's been through. It's been tough, you know, coming off the injury. You know, and I was very honest, just like I think I've told you guys, with some of these guys that are, you know, forging their own path and having to you know, whether walk-on or guys, you know, doing all the stuff. You know, I had to have some real conversations in December, and you know, if opportunity was going to go to 105, and there's a good number of guys that I couldn't, you know, necessarily guarantee, you know, that we'd have an opportunity just from roster count. And you know, I've seen what I've loved is the guys that said, you know what, I'm going to fight to be able to earn my opportunity. We got a little bit of flexibility there with the NCAA, but I mean, Bracewell's been great because, we knew it'd be pushing all the way up till fall camp before he'd even be cleared to be able to participate. But I mean, he has worked his butt off and does a great job, in helping prepare this football team. And then, to see him out there make a play and just feel the linebacker celebration, kind of his journey. I'm just proud of him.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.